we now have reports that China is able to spy on the United States using intelligence gathering devices on seaport cranes. That is troubling. There's a new congressional report that was just on this, just released. I want to break down what some of it says, why experts are so concerned, and what this means for you and I living here in the United States moving forward. We'll break all this down in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. Takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So I know one of the questions that I get all the time, every time I brought this up, that yes, China has pretty much put themselves into our infrastructure already and has been doing so for years, for decades. And we cannot do anything about it because we do not know exactly where they're at. But this new congressional report, this is something that has been brought up several times. I've talked about this here on this channel as well, that our seaport cranes are to blame. Just look at this story right here. It says China able to spy on U.S. with intelligence gathering devices on seaport cranes, according to a House report. Now, this was published just a few days ago, but listen to this right here. This video was done about a year ago. Just listen to this right here.
Pentagon sees giant cargo cranes as possible Chinese spying tools. Equipment at U.S. ports could pose a risk of surveillance or sabotage. China says concerns are paranoia-driven. You know much about this, sir?
No, I don't know any of the details about it, but nothing about that surprises any of us, right? I mean, China is conducting the most comprehensive penetration of the United States in our history. And certainly surveillance is one of those goals. We saw spy balloons, obviously, and we had huge trouble in how to deal with that effectively.
So just that right there, you can see this is a year ago. They've been discussing this for a year. And again, this is nothing new. We've known about these seaport cranes. They're using Chinese software. And now a current ask from China is what is putting the United States at risk. Again, let's keep playing this, and then I'll explain what's going on right now.
But we got to recognize what China, their goals are so comprehensive. They want to replace the United States as the world's leader. And they want to dominate in 4 areas: economically, militarily, technologically, and geopolitically. They are an economic superpower now, but they have some headwinds in front of us. They are the most rapid growing military in the world, and they do dominate in the Indo-Pacific region, but a far cry from dominating the world the way the United States was.
So right there, okay? They are dominating in certain areas, certain aspects, but they are still struggling in others. Now, I want to read you a little bit of this, okay? Look at this right here. It says the Republican majorities on the House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party and House Homeland Security Committee found that the Shanghai-based state-owned ZPMC engineering company had pressured American port authorities to allow remote access to its cranes, with a particular focus on those located on the West Coast. Again, I've talked about this probably about 8 months ago. It says if granted, this access could potentially be extended to other People's Republic of China government entities, posing a significant risk due to the PRC's national security laws that mandate cooperation with state intelligence agencies. Okay, so again, you see where we're going with this. Now, look at this right here. This is the device, okay? It's a cellular modem. That's it. This is what is allowing them to communicate. Now, it says the devices found attached to the cranes include cellular modems that were not requested by U.S. ports or included in contracts and constitute a significant backdoor security vulnerability that undermines the integrity of port operations. Okay, now I want to read you one last thing, and then I want to play a clip from just the other day. It says these unknown modems were believed to be installed under the auspices of collecting usage data for the equipment, the report said, citing contract documents and stating from port operators. These modems, although not necessary for the operation of the cranes, created an obscure method to collect information and bypass firewalls in a manner that could potentially disrupt port operations. Now, in a second, I want to play another clip, but here's the reason why this is such a big deal. Okay, if you look at these, okay, these are the cranes right here. If you look at them, here's the problem. If we are able to, or if China is able to access these and simply wants to shut down all shipments, they can do that. Okay, they can stop these cranes from operating. They can stop them from unloading. Okay, they can just mix up different things. Again, they could shut us down. And that's what people are concerned with. Now, I want to play you this clip as well. Listen to this right here.
The rest of it. And of course, the CCP is going to weaponize all of this. I mean, they are preparing for war with the U.S. in the Pacific. So, you know, the DIA and a whole bunch of national security leaders have been telling us for a long time, these cranes are no good. Beijing could throttle, shipping from the West Coast into the Pacific. And they could also, obviously collect intelligence.
And I'm going to get to the military.
So, right there, they could also collect intelligence. Here's the other thing that many people were kind of shocked about when I brought it up the last time, is if the United States goes to war with a country that, let's say, China is, allies with. Let's say it's Russia. Okay, it's going to be a world war if that happens. But let's say it's just some other country. Or let's say the United States goes and helps protect Taiwan. Here's what China could do. China could be like, you know what? Okay, you're helping Taiwan. We're not going to go to war with you, but what we are going to do is we're going to shut down all the West Coast ports. We're just going to stop the cranes from operating. Okay? And you can't do nothing about it unless you pretty much pull those modems. Right? You unhook them. Change the way those cranes operate. Change the system. Yeah, that's how serious this is. Now, I want to read a few other comments or sentences as well. It's an article from the New York Post just the other day. It says, now, both committees want the Department of Homeland Security to immediately issue guidance to all U.S. ports to disassemble any connections of ZPMC cranes to cellular modems or any other method of connection to ZPMC. It says ZPMC owns roughly 80% of cargo cranes at American ports. 80%. I can tell you right now, the United States does not have the ability, the capacity, even the want to go and create these cranes here in the U.S. We don't have the ability to do that. Not at this level, not at this magnitude. So because of that, we are still years away, even if we decide, and there's a company out there that wants to build these, wants to manage these, right? We're still years away from even being able to do it. But a war could happen anytime. That's a concern. Let's keep reading. It says, leaving the U.S. maritime sector dangerously reliant on equipment and technology produced, manufactured, assembled, or installed in the PRC, including ship-to-shore cranes, container handling equipment, and various other critical maritime infrastructure components. Okay. It says the use of Chinese-built infrastructure has long been a concern in the national security community, but has only made national headlines in recent years. Yeah, that's exactly it. We have seen this. It's gone on for years. Right? It's nothing new, but it's only made headlines recently. And again, I brought this up over a year ago. I mentioned this again 8 months ago, 6 months ago. This is still a concern, but are we doing anything about it? Or can we do anything about it? That's the big question. So we'll see what happens moving forward. The one thing I can tell you right now is that, yes, U.S. officials are highly concerned about these cranes that, again, could be shut down at any time. But now that there's a House report on it, do we see anything happen? Well, we're going to find out soon enough. As we get any more information on this, I promise I will bring you all the latest news and updates. But that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.